What's up guys, welcome back. So we are pretty much at the end of the year now. I mean, we're like 18 days out, and I thought I would do my top 10 games of 2021. And there is quite a few in here that didn't make it, but the top 10 are, well, my top 10. So I'm breaking the rule a little bit here, and number 10 isn't exactly a full game, it's an expansion to an already released game, and that is Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker. Now, I've been playing Final Fantasy XIV since its original release, and then it shut down, and then it came back, and now we're here several years later. And Endwalker is just such a fantastic expansion, and I'm talking just from the two new classes, because I'm not very far into Endwalker, but the two new classes, the Sage and the Reaper, have just been absolutely fantastic. In this video, I'm doing a Alliance raid playing as the Reaper. Usually, I will only go into any sort of duty, raid, Alliance raid, trial as a healer. But I'm enjoying Reaper so much that I will play Reaper during any other duty that I'm doing, and that just, at least for me, that lets you know just how much fun I'm having with this class. Sage, on the other hand, I think that's going to be my new main healing class. Since the start of any MMO, I always play healer. It's the class I prefer, and it's got its reasons for why I like to play healer, but every game that I play with the healers available, that's who I'll play as. And Sage, well, lacking a little, I would say, in total amount of heals that it can do, makes up for it in its offensive side. Because while you can play offensively, while you're doing that, you're also healing at least one person every time you use an attack, which is called Dosis. And that makes the Sage far more versatile, I think, compared to the White Mage is what I usually use. And yeah, I know this one hasn't exactly been new, but the expansion, it clicked with me, so it's going onto my list. Number 9 is also a weird one, as in it didn't originally release this year, it released 6 years ago, but it is a brand new release for the Nintendo Switch, and I am of course talking about Dying Light. Dying Light is still a fantastic game. I originally played it on my PlayStation 4, I also own it on my PC, and when it came out earlier this year, I picked it up on my Nintendo Switch again. That's just how much I love this game. There is a lot to love about it, from the parkour, the weapons, the fighting, just everything in general. Even the locations that you visit are designed so well. That's not to say that this game didn't have a good impact on my channel this year, because it did. I mean, a lot of you guys came over because of this game, and I'm continually doing footage and coverage of it. But Dying Light is just one of those games that you can just keep playing for as long as you want. It is just that good. You could play this game and still not see everything that it has to offer. I know people who still don't have the, although useless, alien blaster weapon, which I can't remember the name of at the moment. And that's the beauty of games like this, is you can just keep playing it and you'll always find something new to do. And that's why it's going back onto my list. Even though it is a 6-year-old game, it had to go on my list because it's just so good, and the guys that developed it done a fantastic job bringing it over to the Nintendo Switch. Number 8 is Ys 9 Monstrum Nox. I played this originally, it was the PlayStation 4 version. I don't think there is a PlayStation 5 version yet, but I played this originally on my PlayStation 4. I do own it for my Nintendo Switch as well, but the footage you're seeing is from the PlayStation 4 version being played on PlayStation 5. And yeah, this was a really, really good RPG. It does have its faults. If you compare it to Ys 8, Lacrimosa of Dana, I don't think you have as much freedom as movement around the locations, or I feel like the world wasn't as connected or as big as Lacrimosa of Dana was, but Ys 9 still has a really fantastic world, and the way that you can interact with it with your new, let's call them Monstrum abilities, because I can't remember exactly if they're called that or not, just make it so much better. There is a lot more verticality to this game than there was previous games, and yeah, the battle system, it's still Ys. You can't really complain about that. The graphics look really nice in this game too, and I spent about 80 hours with this game in total at the start of the year, and I just love it. I love the Ys games, they just resonate so well with me, and that's another reason why this one's going onto the list too. If you haven't played this, I think it's available on everything. I don't know if it's on the Xbox, could be, could not be, but do yourself a favour and play this game. It is absolutely fantastic, and the story is great. At number 7, we have Skyward Sword HD. And normally a Zelda game would be higher on my list of top 10 games in a year that it released, but this is a remake and or a remaster, either or. I'm not sure how you want to define this game. I define it as a remake, but Skyward Sword HD is still an absolutely fantastic game. I loved it when it originally came out on the Wii, which at the time was an unpopular opinion, and I still love it now. I wish that the controls were slightly better when playing it with a Pro controller. The only issue I have with it is I wish that the camera controls were default and you had to hold in the L button to use the right analog stick to use the sword, or you only use the sword when you were Z targeting or ZL targeting as it's defined in the game. But yes, Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword is still a fantastic game. I still need to finish my playthrough of it on YouTube. I have finished it entirely though. I had 2 separate files, and yeah, I think I might do that at the start of the new year. But yeah, you should definitely play this game. For 6, we have Resident Evil Village. And to me, Resident Evil Village, or Resident Evil 8, is the best Resident Evil game we have had in a while. While it is still more action orientated than previous Resident Evil games, like the first 3 games, not including the remakes, there is still a lot to like about Resident Evil Village, from the design of the actual areas, the audio, the actual enemy variety. There's just a lot of things about Resident Evil Village that is absolutely fantastic. And how could you not like the characters, especially Lady Dimitrescu, because I know a lot of people played this game just for her. But yeah, if you haven't played Resident Evil Village yet, it's available on everything apart from the Nintendo Switch at this point, and you should really, really do yourself a favour and play this game. You can finish it in a couple of hours if you know what you're doing. If not, it'll take 10, 12, maybe longer if you're going slow. But yeah, do yourself a favour, play this game. It is absolutely fantastic, and as I said previously, the best Resident Evil game we've had in a while. Hopefully, the next Resident Evil games will go back to being more survival horror, but until then, out of the lot that have been released recently, not including the remakes, this is the best one. At number 5, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Now, these are almost perfect to me. I really enjoy Pokemon games. I generally don't care about changes that the rest of the Pokemon community care about, like the national decks being removed and things like that. As long as I can have fun with the game and I can find Pokemon that I like, doesn't have to be my favourite, because I played Shining Pearl and Growlithe isn't in it and Arcanine is my favourite Pokemon. As long as I can have fun with the Pokemon that are available and I like them, then that doesn't bother me. These games are almost perfect to me. If there was a few tweaks, possibly graphically, like the chibi characters weren't chibi characters, which, while I don't mind them being like that, I have a feeling that if the character models were the same in the overworld as they are in battle, then this would have been received much better by everyone in general. But I still really enjoyed my time with these games, or this game, because I haven't started Brilliant Diamond yet. And yeah, if you haven't tried them and you're on the fence about them, you should give them a go, because they're still really fantastic games. And I really can't wait for Pokemon Legends Arceus to come out, or Arceus, however that one's said. At number 4 is Tales of Arise. Now, this game would have been higher on this list if one change was made. If the battle system was in the overworld and not instanced, I think this game would have been at least one spot higher on my list. Everything else about this game is absolutely fantastic. From the character design, the world design, the audio, the combat, the way the characters interact with each other, just everything else about this game is fantastic. If only the battles were done in the real open world instead of it happening in an instanced section of the world, would have been perfect in my eyes. Hopefully the next Tales game has combat done in no overworld instead of it being done in an instanced area. It would be my favourite Tales game, and even because of that one section that brings it down, this is still one of my favourite games this year, and I haven't even finished it yet. At number 3 is Bravely Default 2. And the thing about this game is it takes everything from Bravely Default and Bravely Second End Layer and just makes everything so much better. In the original Bravely Default, the game was padded out so much that it literally took forever to get through it. If you lost interest in it, that was it, you were done. But while Bravely Default 2 can be a long game, it's not padded out with useless stuff like the original game was, and everything about it is just so much better. There's better jobs, there's better skills. Progression, I feel, is much better. It's not, as I said, padded out as much. And if you haven't played this game, as I've said with previous games, you really should do yourself a favour and play this one. It's available on a Nintendo Switch and on Steam. So if you have the ability to, you really should play this game, because I can't think of a better RPG that I played this year. Okay, so for number 2 and number 1, I have a tie. I cannot decide between the two of these where to put them. And these two games are Monster Hunter Rise and Metroid Dread. Both of these games just absolutely blew me away. With Monster Hunter Rise, the extra level of freedom that you get with the wire bug and the wire bug attacks is just so much better than what we've had in previous Monster Hunter games. Now, graphically, it doesn't look as good as Monster Hunter World, but I generally don't care about graphics in games. If they're good, I will say that they're good, but I don't need the games to be graphically impressive for me to get the full enjoyment out of the games. And Monster Hunter Rise is just one of those games where I'm still playing it, and I will still play it until the new one comes out. And as for Metroid Dread, after 19 years, we finally got a sequel to the 2D Metroid games, or the fifth game in the 2D Metroid game series. And it just was so much better than I think everyone was expecting it to be. The movements, the fluidity, the combat is just perfect Metroid right down to its core. If there is going to be another one, it really should be Mercury Steam that makes it again, because they have proven themselves that they are just fantastic at making this type of game. Hopefully we don't have to wait another 19 years for it, and hopefully it comes out soon. So that's my top 10 games of the year. As I said, I couldn't decide between the top two where to put them, so I'm lumping them both in together as a tie. But anyway guys, let me know in the comment section below what your top 10 games or just your top game of this year is. And yeah, thanks very much for watching, hope you enjoyed. Enjoy the rest of the year, enjoy the holidays if you celebrate them, and I'll see you all next time. Bye now.